Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I was on holiday for quite a while, so that is why you did not see any videos from me. But I am back today and I'm really excited. Got some interesting things I want to talk about today. So I want to talk about solo travel tips for women. And before I get into it, I just kind of want to preface and say that I hate that I even have to talk about this. Like, it shouldn't be a thing that women feel like they need tips specifically for them traveling alone. Like, there's not a lot of men solo travel tips, apart from like the general, like make friends and that kind of stuff, like keep copies of your passport because everybody gets pickpocketed. That's not really gender specific, but it sucks that it's 2021 and we're still talking about this. So I did want to preface it by saying that, and I poured myself a glass of wine because it's needed, because we shouldn't have to talk about this, but we are. And I do want my solo female travelers out there to feel safe when they travel. And if you have not ever traveled solo before, I want you to feel as safe as you possibly can by, learning some tricks from, I've gathered these tips from myself, from my own experiences, and then from other women who have also traveled solo that I know personally. So, yeah. And I mean, I have another video, I'll link it here, and it's about, why traveling solo is so great and why you shouldn't be afraid to travel solo. And I stand by everything I said in that video. I do, however, think there are things that you need to do to travel safely. So, let's get started and cheers. Okay. Also, it feels so weird. I never film at night, so I've got a ring light, and so actually I don't have a ring light. I'm using my computer screen on an all-white background as my light, but I never record at night, so this is very strange. Anyways, here we go. Solo travel tips for women. And the first one, which is something that I just recommend you do anyways, even if you're not traveling solo, is to have a general itinerary. And if you're traveling solo, have it more than just general. Have an itinerary and share it with people you know and trust. So share it with your mom, with your boyfriend, with your best girlfriend, with your girlfriend, whoever it is that's not traveling with you, or who is traveling with you, but maybe you're splitting up and meeting up again at another time. Share it with a couple people you know, people who you trust, just so they have kind of an idea. If you know the hotels you're going to be staying at, let them know so that if something does happen, they don't hear from you, or, God forbid something happens or they can't get in touch with you. You lose, even if it's something like you lose your phone, they can maybe phone up the hotel and say, hey, my daughter, Sydney Zaruba, is staying in room 416. You might not know what room she's staying in, but you can say, hey, my daughter is staying with you. She checked in on this day. She's supposed to be checking out on this day. I want to just make sure she's safe and okay. I haven't heard from her. And the hotel will be able to check, be able to call into your room and check on you. So, and if you have trips you wanted to take, or excursions, and you write down the excursions you're going with, if something were to happen on the excursion, God forbid, I say all this, I don't ever want any of this to happen, but if something were to happen, it's nice to have somebody who knows where you've been and what you've been up to, and the more information you have, the better. So, because it's, I'll get into this more in the next one. It's one thing to know your location, but it's another thing to know which tour company you're using, what hotel you were staying at, who you were with, if you picked up friends along the way, that kind of stuff. So share your itinerary with your friends. And for me as a travel agent, I always send my clients they get their itinerary beforehand, nice and printed out. It's beautiful, it's done. And all they have to do is just forward it to their mom or their dad or their brother, whoever, And a lot of people think that because I'm a travel agent, I don't have any solo travelers. I have quite a few solo travelers, actually. I've had solo travelers go to Cancun, to Iceland, to Scotland. I've had some go to France. So plenty of solo travelers come to travel agents. So, don't think that just because they're traveling solo, they wouldn't be using a travel agent, because people do. I know it's surprising, but yeah. All right, the second thing that I recommend you do, and I just do this all the time anyways, because me and my friends are creepy and we stalk each other. But we have, I always have Find My Friends on, and I don't have my mom on Find My Friends because my mom has an Android. But I do have my dad, and I've got like 8, 9, 10 of some of my closest friends on there. So they always know where I am. And if they haven't seen me in a couple days, I will often get a text and be like, where are you? Why haven't I seen you on Find My Friends? And I'm like, oh, sorry, my phone broke and I'm using a different phone. And they're like, okay, good, just making sure. Because, you know, it's nice to have people like constantly checking up on you and, you know, knowing where you are. But like I said in the last one, just because somebody knows where you are doesn't mean they know who you are with. So having both of these to like vet against each other really can help in the event that something does go wrong. Okay. This is very similar to the last one. They're all kind of related because they all have the same theme. And I hate this conversation, guys, but I know we have to have it. Anyways, number 3 is when you get in a taxi, always make sure you have the map pulled up to where you're going. So don't just get in the taxi and say, oh, I'm going to Hotel Cavour. I don't know, it's the first one that popped into my head. And assume the taxi driver is going to take you there. I have had this happen to me a few times, actually. Most of the time, it's just people being sketchy in the sense that they want to drop you off further away. Like I had this happen in Morocco where they dropped me off like at the base of a hill so that their friend could come out and help us carry our luggage because the hotel was so far away. I was like, dude, no, the hotel is right here. It says you can drive to it on the thing. And he's like, no, I can't drive there. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can. And this happened to me like 2 or 3 times in Morocco. One time the guy didn't go and the other times the guys did go. And that's just them. I mean, that's just like a general rule. Like I say everybody to do that because then you're not getting scammed, because people love to scam Americans because they know we got money. And that's just the truth, or they think we do, at least. Whether we do or not is a different story. But people think Americans have money, and they think if you're an American traveling, you have money, which is true. You are privileged and you probably do have more money than them, but that doesn't mean you should be scammed, because it's also exploiting the local government, and that's a whole different conversation for another day. But anyways, you don't want to be scammed, so just make sure you have it on in that sense. And then I've also had it happen where I've told somebody that I was, you know, I got into the marina, goodness. I got into my taxi and told them that I was going to the marina where the boat was at, and they said, okay, sounds good. And I'd been out. I don't know where I had been, but I had been out. I wasn't drunk. I had been drinking, but I wasn't drunk by any means. And I like had just been on my phone, like looking around, because I'm in Majorca. Like I'm used to being here. There's very little crime on the island. You know, it's not something that I worry about. And I don't think this guy was being creepy. I think he was taking me to a different marina. But I don't know. But I looked up at one point and I was like, why are we on the interstate? Like, I was just on the other side of town. Like, we should have just gone through town. And at first I thought he'd got on the highway, like, to go around because there was traffic or something. But he wasn't. He was, like, driving out towards, like, the marina that's, like, 30 minutes outside of Palma. And I was like, excuse me, where are you going? And I didn't have my map up. I just knew that we were going the wrong way because I live here. And, he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, obviously this is all in like broken Spanish too, because I do not speak Spanish. And I was like, I'm going to this marina. Why are you taking me out here? Like, this marina is in the center of Palma. And he was like, oh, I thought you said this. And I was like, I did say that. That's in the center of Palma. And he was like, no, it's not. And I was like, yes, it is. I live there. I know where this marina is. And he got like all like, oh, whatever. He's like, sorry, blah, blah, blah. Turned around, finally brought me back. My boyfriend was freaking out because I was like an hour later than I should have been when I said I was getting in the taxi. And I was like, I'm sorry. I just like zoned out and thought I was going the right way. And then I wasn't. And yeah. It was scary because, like, that guy, you never know. Like, I genuinely do. I like to believe the best in people, and I do think he was just taking me to the wrong marina. I think he was taking me out to Port Adriano, which I only knew that because I used to live out there. But if I hadn't known that marina was out there, then I wouldn't have known. I would have been terrified, you know, that he was like taking to kill me or something. So just always have the map pulled up to where you want to go so that you can look at where you're going and just make sure it's the right direction. Also, like, I've had this happen in New York too. I'm telling a lot of stories right now, but I've had this happen so many times. So I'm really passionate about it. I've had it in New York or even in St. Augustine in my hometown, where like people like get in the Uber and they like take you the long way around so they can get more money out of the trip. I don't think Uber does that anymore, but taxis it still does. I think on Uber now, unless there's a surge that happens in the middle of your trip, like it's set to the price before. But it used to be like it said, your estimated price would be $12, but then if they took the long way around because of avoiding traffic or whatever, it ended up being like $25 or $30. And it took me like maybe 4 times that this happened to me in New York before I caught on. And I was like, I started like watching the thing in the Uber app, and I was like, where is this guy taking us? And he was taking us, but he was just taking us a long way around. And after that, I started getting real sassy with them, which they're New Yorkers. You have to be sassy with them. But yeah, so all of those stories, take my advice, just track where you're going in Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever. Good thing about Google Maps is you can download, you don't have to use your data. You can download everything. You can download a map of an entire country almost on Wi-Fi before you go, so that you have everything downloaded so you don't even have to use your data when you're doing this. So take my advice. Okay, this one, there's a hair in my eye. This one is another just general life travel rule, but I think it's important, especially if you're traveling solo for females, and it's to pack light. And mostly because it's just like, nowhere has elevators like in the world except for the US and like maybe big cities in like China, Asia, Thailand. I just feel like elevators are a luxury in a lot of places. I mean, I just traveled around Scotland for 3 weeks, and I'll be damned if I had more than one elevator. I think literally one hotel I stayed in had an elevator, and I had these big ass bags I was carrying around. It was crazy. And the only reason I did this was because I had to move all my stuff off the boat into Will's parents' house, then travel around Scotland, then I had to go home, and then I had to bring all the stuff back to the boat, right? Okay, like a pain. So travel light, because if you're going up and down stairs, if you're going around, also if you, like, I hate to say it again, but if you need to run from somebody, you don't want to have to run with like 5 different bags, you know. Travel light, travel smart, pack smart. Don't bring massive bags. I don't even recommend bringing like a roller bag if you're traveling in Europe, because the cobblestone first will just destroy it if you have to drag it anywhere, and then you have to lug it up stairs and stuff. So if you can pack everything in like a backpacking backpack, or even just like I have like a camera bag thing that I pack most of my stuff in, and then like a front bag. Yeah, just you don't need a lot. And in the summer you have like different dresses that you can pack, and they're all small and just roll them up. And, you know, in the winter, you just will have to suffer with knowing that you're going to be wearing the same thing in every photo. On that same train of thought, you need to pack and you need to dress to blend in. Americans are really bad at this. Really bad. I love our people. I love our country. Hashtag America. But we do not dress to blend in. We stick out like a sore thumb. So dress to fit the culture you're in. And it's really not that hard. I mean, obviously in Morocco, being blonde, and I'm not wearing, you know, full hijab, I'm gonna stick out regardless of what I wear, but I'm also not going and wearing booty shorts and tank tops. You know, wear longer skirts or pants, loose fitting clothing, you know, t-shirts are fine. Like, you know, but I have a scarf that I usually wear so that if I do want to cover my hair, I can. And I always had sunglasses to cover my face so that if, you know, I could avoid eye contact easily. And same thing like in Europe, I wear very muted colors, lots of blacks, browns, olives. I can't even tell you the last time I wore pink. I love pink. It's one of my favorite colors. Don't know when I last wore it though. Or like if I wear red, it's like, you know, this is almost too bright. You know, so just dress to blend in, dress for the culture you're visiting, because it will help things significantly. Okay, my next thing is make friends, whether you're staying at a hostel or if you're like in some sort of like camp or something. Like I know a lot of people when they go, like for example, like going to South Africa, like you're staying in like a bush camp and you do safaris and stuff, and that's a great way to make friends. I mean, you can go on cooking classes or different tours, like make friends with the people on your tours. I mean, they're there doing the same thing that you are, and even if they're not solo travelers, doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. Heck, I'll third wheel all day long. I love being a third wheel because I don't have like any of the responsibility. I just get to be like the fun drunk friend. So go on, be the third wheel when you're traveling solo. It's fine. But make friends and like, you know, be safe about it and be smart about it. But, you know, why not? Like, you're there to experience something new. And with that experiencing of something new means making new friends. So yeah, why not? I mean, like I said, like as long as you're safe about it, people know your itinerary, know what you're doing. I don't see any harm in making new friends. I've always make friends when I travel. Well, I lie. I don't so much anymore, mostly because I just hate people and and I hate being around people. And like when I travel now, I'm like, take me to the most desolate place on the planet. But when I was younger and I liked civilization, I always made friends when I traveled. Okay, my next bit of advice is something that I find it really hard to do, and I've done it so many times. I just always struggle with it. And this is detox from technology. And basically what I'm saying is when you travel, don't be on your phone the whole time, because like I said in my story earlier about being in the cab, I was on my phone, so I wasn't paying attention. If you're not paying attention because you're on your phone, that's when bad things happen. You get robbed, you get, you know, petty theft, you get taken to the wrong place, you get hassled. Stay off your phone, guys. Like, I get taking pictures and stuff, and I've like now come to this agreement with myself, I guess. This is how I now function, is when I'm traveling, because I like posting Instagram stories because I like sharing with you guys, you know, the stories and the culture and the history and the sights and all that. But I hate being on my phone all day because I don't experience as much. So what I do now is I take so many pictures on my phone, and I think taking a picture on your phone is great. I take tons of pictures on my phone, tons of video, all sorts of stuff. But I don't post any of it until I get home that night and I'm sitting in my hotel room or my Airbnb or wherever I am. And then I post it then, and I can actually go and like fact check myself and research more if I want to, and kind of share how my day progressed instead of just like half posting a thing here. And like I can actually share more by sharing later. And I know not all of you guys are like travel bloggers or anything. Most of you probably aren't travel bloggers. But that applies for the same thing. Like if you know, people like to share their photos on their vacation. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm all for it. Like absolutely tag me in your vacation photos. Like I want to see where you've been traveling, but just do it in a way that it's not going to hinder your experience and also is going to keep you safe. Okay, this one's really simple and I know everybody knows it, but get yourself a crossbody purse, or I mean, like, sometimes I'll rock, like, a cute fanny pack. That's just me. I'm just saying, fanny packs are, like, kind of in. But a crossbody purse so that nobody can just snatch it off your shoulder. And make sure it zips. It has to zip closed. And don't put anything on the outside. Also, just, like, if you wear a crossbody purse and you wear it behind you, that ain't gonna do shit. So make sure you wear it in front of you or, like, to the side with your hand on it. Because if you wear it behind you, people can still steal from it, okay? Just trust me. I've had people steal shit from my purse before. From a crossbody purse that was unzipped. They just stuck their hand in there and took my phone. Okay, this next one is one that I had never really considered because, like, I have got Find My Friends. I, like, text all my friends. They've got my itinerary. But with the recent killing of Gabby Petito, I have now thought that it would be beneficial for solo female travelers or even people traveling with their significant other to call their parents or their brother, or to just call someone every couple of days, and, you know, make sure they know, like, hey, mom, I'm going to try and call you every couple of days, because we can't trust society anymore. And it's unfortunate. And this whole thing with Gabby Petito, like, really, really irked me. and that's not just, I mean, all missing persons cases irk me, but I think, like, especially for me, like, this one struck so close to home because she was a travel blogger and she was on a road trip with her boyfriend. I'm like, this sounds very, very familiar. She was blonde, lived in Florida. I'm like, this sounds really familiar. Like, you know, but they were young, and I don't know. It's tragic, and there's no other way to describe it. And all of these missing persons cases are absolutely tragic. You know, and I know a lot of people felt very passionate about what happened to her. But yeah, I think that case in particular, I mean, not that she could have necessarily been saved, but something else maybe could have happened had she been called, you know, had her mother known sooner that she would call every couple of days. And it's hard because, you know, they were in the Tetons, there's not service. I don't know. My advice is just talk to someone on the phone. Even if you don't talk to your mom every couple of days, like, you know, call your mom, call your brother, call your dad, you know, cycle through it, or your boyfriend, or whoever it is, just so that somebody's heard your voice, and not just, it could be, you know, not just a robot or your, you know, crazy ex-boyfriend texting them. So I hate to say it, but that case really made me think about that. And it's yeah, really, it makes my stomach hurt. So, okay, another piece of advice is to stay somewhere with 24/7 reception. Lots of hotels offer this. Lots of hostels offer it. Obviously, like, Airbnbs won't. But I am shying away from Airbnbs these days, just because the service just isn't the service isn't what it used to be anywhere, and so service at Airbnbs really isn't what it used to be. And also, I don't necessarily trust their cleaning standards in the face of a global pandemic. That's just me. I have stayed at Airbnbs. I stayed at an Airbnb in Scotland, but only one. The rest of the places we stayed were hotels. So, but just thought, somewhere with 24-hour reception, good call. That way, there's always somebody at the front desk when you come in from, like, a night out, and, you know, they can see if you've come or gone. And, you know, hotel staff are trained to keep an eye out on things like that, as are airline staff. And, you know, airline staff are also trained to notice sex trafficking too. So I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know you can read up on it and learn, like, different signs and clues and signals, and what the airline attendants are trained to know in this case. So, like, what signals they're trained to know, so that if somebody you know, or you are suspecting of someone nearby, or you yourself are going through this, that you can access the flight attendant and be able to get yourself help or somebody else help. Okay, this is another super practical one for anybody traveling. Stash your cash in many different places. I've got, like, I usually have, like, 8, if I travel with cash. I barely travel with cash anymore. But some places still cash is king and you have to travel with it. I put, like, I have, like, 8 different hidden spots in my bag or purse or among my items where I've hidden cash. And in a note on my phone, like in a locked note on my phone, I'll write how much money I've put in each spot. So that way, if somebody has taken it, I know where it's come from and then how much money should have been there. Okay, and the last thing, again, this is pertinent for everybody traveling, but especially for people traveling solo, because you got nobody there for your backup, is make photocopies, physical photocopies of your passport and your driver's license and any credit cards you might have. Not any credit cards you might have, but at least one credit card. Make photocopies of them. Also, take photos of them on your phone and put them on your phone, because sometimes you lose the paper ones. What if somebody steals your whole bag and they've stolen your passport and your photocopies? What are you gonna do? Yeah, take photos of them and put them on your phone, please. Thank you. Okay, y'all, that is all I have for our tips for women traveling solo. Again, I'm like, it's devastating me that I have to have this conversation. Not that I have to have this conversation, but that I want to have this conversation. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. So if you are a female traveling solo, please feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions you might have. I've traveled solo to quite a few places. There are many places I would go back to traveling solo. There are many places I probably wouldn't go back to traveling solo. And as a younger person, I probably would have never said that. I'd be like, no, I'll travel anywhere solo. But that is not the reality of life, unfortunately. And I, you know, as I get older, I come to realize these things. So, but if you are traveling solo and you have any questions or want to pick things through with somebody, or want somebody to help plan your trip even, who has experience traveling solo because you don't really know how to move forward, please feel free to reach out to me. Also, you guys, please like this video, leave a comment, where have you traveled solo? I would love to know where you guys have traveled solo or where you have not traveled solo, and give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.